Good morning, friends and neighbors. Good morning. Sorry I had to turn that TV off. I forgot I had the news on. Friends and neighbors. Good morning, Miss Brenda Pruitt. Sorry I had to turn that TV off. I forgot I had the news on. Friends and neighbors. Good morning, Miss Brenda Pruitt. Good thing you're here. I wouldn't have anybody to talk to right now. Good thing you're here. I wouldn't have anybody to talk to right now. Getting a little echo. Wrong button. Watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. Oh, wrong hat. Kay might remember that cartoon. Hopefully the echo's gone. I had two things going on there. Were you hearing the echo, Brenda? And good morning, Miss Kay. How are you today? Hopefully you're having decent weather over your way. I'm not sure what our weather's supposed to do today. I think it's going to be rainy. See, I hid my yawn there. I pull this picture out from something the last few days, if it'll focus. I thought that was kind of interesting. That was Bullwinkle. That's right. He was always trying to pull a rabbit out of that hat. He never pulled a rabbit out, I don't think. He always said, "Oops, wrong hat." I'm glad somebody knows who I'm talking about. Anyway, this was Brenda wasn't on this trip. She might remember it. I took a bunch of guys. I led a ride for the club I was in. My motorcycle's there somewhere in the middle. I don't see Phil's either. I'm not sure where he parked, but what I was doing, I used to do something called Colors of History tour or something like that. I don't know, Brenda, can you remember what I called it? Anyway, we all kind of took turns leading one ride a month during the year. There were three covered bridges left in this part of the state. They're not. Hello, Dave. Good morning. How are you, sir? I was just telling a short story about this trip, this photograph, and that painting on the wall. But I was explaining how I got there. I was leading a ride, Colorful History Tour. I think I called that. Anyway, I'd always do something history related, but during the fall when the colors were on the trees, I usually did my ride in the fall. And I was going to the last three covered bridges in East Tennessee. There's not very many left in the whole state. And at that time, there's only three left in the state, in this part of the state. So we did a ride and went to all three covered bridges. I also went through my hometown. So this mail pouch painting It's been on the side of that building for, I don't know, 100 years ish, maybe more now. But it was there my whole life. It's been there for a long time, and it was kind of significant because Dave might have seen them. Kay, you might remember, but they used to paint advertisements on barns and the sides of other buildings, and that was one. And in fact, I pulled up a few pictures. Let me see if I can share that screen. Just while we're sitting here talking, I had oops, I don't have them ready yet. Hang on a minute. Where'd I put them? Mel Pouch was kind of famous for this. There were other companies that did it too. Tina, good morning. Bears fans. Oh, I never thought about that. That might give people the wrong impression about my football leans. Okay. Well, I guess I pulled more pictures of Jonesboro. I didn't. I do have one more Mel Pouch picture here, though. If I can make this open. Yeah, there's another. That's typically what they did. They painted on the sides of barns. So this one in town was a little different, I guess, but it'd been there a long time. And just a few years ago, I'm not sure exactly how many, they redid it, cleaned it up, and made it more presentable. And that may be the only one I had of that. Anyway, there's a kind of like a postcard thing for the town. Well, there is. Oh, I know why I put that in there, because they're showing the Mel Pouch tobacco sign. It was just kind of another draw for the town. And I did find a couple of interesting pictures, though. Hey, Francisco, you're back. Hey, Francisco was in early this morning. I found this picture. Oh, that's not going to show up. Found a couple of pictures of Jonesboro in the snow. And let me see if I can find it. I had one really good one from 1886 right here. Let me see if it'll let me save this one. This one was great. I thought this one was great. Hopefully it's big enough for you all to see. That's downtown Jonesboro, the town where I like to say I grew up. And check out that snow. The only thing on Main Street's a cow. Who knows where that came from? Yeah, okay. The Rock City sign. That was another thing they painted all over the place. Right? See Rock City, 7 states from Rock City, and Lookout Mountain. Well, that was actually Lookout Mountains where they saw 7 states. That was something else they like to paint on the side of buildings and barns up here. And I don't mean just around here, but at least in the southern part of the country. I don't know if they did that up north. They probably did. I saw that a while ago. I was looking through those pictures and I saw that Jonesboro picture, and I thought, no, that's funny. My lifetime, I've only seen snow close to that one time, and that was in about 1970. Maybe it's the winter 74, 75, or January, maybe 75, 76. It had to be 74, 75. Brenda will remember that. That's when we missed a month of school, and everybody's water pipes froze up, and it was a mess. But anyway, I had pulled those up earlier and was looking at them. I found that picture on my desk and brought back memories. I've got a bunch of motorcycle. What have I done here? Oh, I know what I've done. I need to hit this button. I got so many pictures from trips, from motorcycle trips to Disney trips to stuff that are all on slides, and I've mentioned that before. I need to I need to get those copied. Oh, that's cool, Tina. I figured they were a little bit. I figured they weren't just down here, but since I grew up down here, I saw them all the time. But they were chewing tobacco ads, Sea Rock City ads. Well, Tina, I heard that you guys were had just gotten a new amusement park up your way. Is that exciting or what? Maybe not to you. I heard I assumed it was finished, but they just built a Legoland up there somewhere. It may be, I'm sure it's closer to New York City, but I just know it's in New York. I myself was trying to think of what would you do in Legoland? Get to build models, buy Legos, tour Lego houses. Never been to one. Never been. I think there is one in Florida, I'm pretty sure. But I've never been to it. I figured it was down that way since that was, populated area, but oh, okay. And what kind of drive, Tina, would that be from where you guys live? Several hours, I assume? Or, no, I don't know. Maybe not that far, but. Oh, I figured that's what you meant, Tina. NYS, NYC. I figured it's close to the same thing. 4 hours. I guess that's about what I thought it'd be. Here I go again. I've lost my boy. Did he come back up with you, Brenda? So, Francisco, how's the West Coast? Are you in a fire area? Are you safe from that at the moment? I hope. I don't remember, Tina. Are you guys still having a heat wave up your way? Because down here it's actually fairly mild for Tennessee this time of year. Well, that's good. That's good. There he is. Hey, buddy. You want to come up and say hi? You come up here? No? Yeah, I think he's going to get in his chair, maybe. Oh, sorry. We have company this week. Everybody's a little bit discombobulated. Yeah, I wish you guys out, Francisco. I wish you guys could get some of the rain we've been getting. Well, we haven't had as much, but some areas back east have had way more than enough. And you guys don't need that kind of rainfall, but you do need some rain, that's for sure. The whole West needs rain. Not that they ever get a lot, but they need some right now bad. Finally got something special this week. I got it. I don't know when I got it. May have had it. No, surely I didn't have it last week, or I would have showed it last week. But I've been trying to get a new coffee cup from Death Wish, and I could never get one. They were always sold out. I can get an email and jump online, and when I got there, they were always sold out. They finally got some in. You can see that or not. Death Wish Coffee Company. They call this a gateway mug. I guess that's kind of like a starter mug, but most of them are dated. This one's not dated. That's one of the things they do is they have every year they produce a new coffee mug or somebody makes one for them. And then they sell them, and they're hard to get if you're into that sort of thing. But man, you talk about a heavy duty mug. Now that is a heavy duty coffee mug. And I swear I think it holds about a pint. If I didn't have a coffee warmer plate, it'd get chilly come I got through it. I mean, even as fast as I drink it. That's the one bad thing about a big mug like that. I like them. I like the art on it, but they don't stay warm as long to me as other mugs. But I definitely prefer drinking my coffee out of a ceramic mug if I can. I drank a lot out of styrofoam cups when I worked on airplanes. That's what we had in the office. Or in the break room. I don't know why I never took a cup there. I guess I didn't trust anybody not to either take it or break it. Or me break it would be more like it. Especially something I valued. I've got a bunch of Disney cups. I tried to get Disney cups. Oh, I did bring one today. I brought this one down. I was thought about drinking out of it, but I tried to collect cups, mugs from places we stayed. So this is one of my favorites. Doesn't hurt that it's got a bear on it, huh? I've got one. I know I've got another one up there for the campground. I think it's got a Mickey and a coonskin cap on it. And I've got a couple of resort cups. I know I've got an Epcot cup, an old Epcot cup. Well, from the early 90s. And it's kind of shiny looking, chrome-ish almost, with the old the old Epcot logo on it. Yeah, I don't know what the temp is here, but it's overcast. I think we're supposed to get rain most of the day. I think our weekend's going to be pretty wet. At least that's what I remember seeing on the weather chart. Brenda, you're welcome to feel free to chime in. Oh, I just realized something. Today's the wedding. Brenda was supposed to go to a wedding today. And I started to mention that we have company. Cat's been a little discombobulated. Not a lot, but a little bit. Our oldest daughter and son-in-law went to New Orleans this week, and that's where he's from. And so they left the grand dog with us. Her name is Momo. She's Shih Tzu, Brenda, isn't that right? Anyway, she's getting kind of old. She's sort of cranky. I don't know if she's cranky, but when she comes to stay with us, she's never happy. She doesn't she's not well socialized. She didn't get out much, as they say here. My youngest daughter complains about it all the time because she grooms her and has her around other dogs sometimes, and Momo does not get well with it. She doesn't play well with others. But when she comes here, all she wants to do is eat cat food. And we can't keep it away from her. We try, but she's not supposed to eat it. She's supposed to have a special diet food. And when she's here, she won't eat that food. We give it to her. We've heated it up. We've done everything they do. And she just won't eat it. And she goes in search of cat food, doesn't she, buddy? She eats your food. Come here. Oh, somebody wanted to come over and visit. I hope Carol shows up while he's here. But not that he couldn't use to miss a meal or two. I mean, he wouldn't agree to that, but would you? But Momo eats his food. Eats all her food if she can. Well, that makes sense, Kay. I just figured it had better flavor for them or something. Sometimes I think she eats it because she can't get it at home. She just wants it. And like I said, they buy her this special diet food because I'm talking about your food. What? He says she's not so bad, but, he'll be glad when she leaves tomorrow. I think they're leaving tomorrow. Am I leaving tomorrow? Mm-hmm. Boy, you're being a sweet boy today. But, so she won't eat her food. She wants to eat cat food. If we put the cat food up, she still won't eat her food unless she's just starving for it. So, and I'm talking about, canned food. These guys split between the four of them. They split a little canned food in the mornings and at night. They don't get a lot of it. I'm not sure. I still don't know which food's the best. I really should research that more. Which one? He likes the dry food, he said, but he does eat the other. Yeah, he says that he and Chloe eat together all the time, which is true. They tend to, we tend to share bowls, or not share bowls. I know I've talked about that. Brenda bottle fed them and raised them pretty much in her sewing room, so that's still their room. Yeah, Momo has separation anxiety. That's right, Brenda. I forgot about that. So that doesn't help any when they're gone. She doesn't like to be away from them. Unfortunately, she's probably not going to be around a lot longer because she's got some health issues, and I guess she's about 13. She was a special dog in a way. I mean, she had some issues because of I suspect that she came from a puppy mill, and so she wasn't quality enough for the owners to sell as a shitter. She's a mix, isn't she, Brenda? Yeah, that's true. Momo means peach in Japanese. Brian was stationed in Okinawa or Japan, somewhere over there in the Marines, and he likes a lot of the Japanese culture stuff, and I think he came up with that name, I suspect. But Jennifer likes it too, so. But I don't know, is she supposed to be like a cockapoo type mix, Brenda, or is she just supposed to be a purebred Shih Tzu? But anyway, her tail was bent, and her legs were not, bone structure wasn't quite right. And I don't know if that was just a bad circumstances, or like I said, if that was a result of poor breeding, but the people couldn't sell her, so they wanted to, I guess they would have probably put her down, but somehow Jennifer got her, and she's a sweet dog when she was little. I mean, she was cute, but now I think she's having problems with not only her bones, but, other stuff. I suspect it's all kind of related. Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out, Tina. If she was supposed to be some kind of designer dog. Now, she's supposed to be pure. After I said that, I thought about it, and I thought, no, I think she's supposed to be a purebred. But but she had problems. So, and most of the time, those kind of dogs just get put down. So, yeah, okay. My understanding is one of the big problems with puppy mills is they just breed and breed and breed the females to death, and the quality of the pups keeps going down, down, down. But they'll keep doing it as long as they can to sell the puppies, and it's just not a good situation. There's good dog breeders and there's bad dog breeders. Unfortunately, the bads get a lot of the press. I've lost my coffee jug. Not just her tail, though, Brenda. Wasn't it her front legs? Or I know she's always had a leg that was turned wrong or something. And teeth. She's got a jaw issue or something. Anyway, as she gets a little older, you can kind of see some of those problems. So you don't think, or you don't remember it being a puppy mill situation. That's good. But I know it was still she had birth defects. Yeah, I'm not too fond of them either, Tina, and I'm pretty sure that's what would happen to Mo also if they couldn't have given her away or somebody didn't want her. I can't even remember it. Brenda, can you remember? Her heart's enlarged now, yeah. I can't remember. Whoop, went right out of my head there. You said something. I was just thinking. Oh, I can't remember how Jen actually found her. Do you, Brenda? Our cats are rescues too. Well, I say that our cats are rescues or foundlings, which I consider rescued also, as far as I'm concerned. Oh my word! It's Miss Dawn from Texas. The sun has risen in Texas. Yeah, puppy mills are just a bad situation. Any place that's with those kind of breeding practices, whether they're raising puppies or other animals that they shouldn't be, are bad. How's Texas this morning? Yeah, Tina, good points there too. I know a lot of the females and probably the males too, when they're kept in cages like that all their life, they usually develop all kinds of leg and feet problems too, just from walking on the cage material and stuff. It's just not a good thing. I've known a few people that bred dogs, and they were just not like that. I mean, they took good care of them. They only had a few litters a year, or maybe one or two, and they didn't overbreed, and they didn't keep their dogs like that. Brenda, say hi to Dawn. Hitchhiking Bones. She's in. She's a fellow Appalachian, but she lives in Texas now, so she still counts. I mean, by the grace of God, she was born here instead of there. She moved out there, apparently by choice, but that's okay. That's okay. T for Texas, T for Tennessee. And she knows I'm kidding because we've talked about it before. I hope. Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad they weren't. I wasn't sure. I couldn't remember all the details. I was concerned that it might have been that situation. I don't know. Let me see something. Speaking of Jennifer, they sent me some pictures yesterday. I don't know if I can open them or not. No, they're not on there yet. I didn't download them, I guess. There's pictures of your cactus flowers. Brenda had I guess they're a little barrel cactus. I don't know, Brenda. You can correct me there. Had yellow blooms on it that popped out this week. Might be able to show them to you real quick. There it is. They didn't last too long, though. I was hoping they'd last just a little bit longer. I didn't get enough pictures of them. They were sitting right here by my desk, but it's kind of like they came up and then they died real quick or died back. Well, that's good, Tina. I mean, I'm glad people see the benefit of that and recognize what a problem, overpopulations are and stuff for not only just for people but for the animals. Like I said, Simon was officially adopted in Johnson City at the shelter, and the other three were all found. Spooky's the oldest. He was found in a dumpster behind the Ruby Tuesdays at the mall. And of course, I found Teddy and Chloe in the back of that pickup truck. Or we found them. A friend of mine I worked with did. He and I kind of dug them out of the truck, and I ended up bringing them home. Yeah, I'm sure she would have, Tina or Kay. I mean, they don't have a use for that dog. They'll get rid of it. We bought one dog from a pet store one time, and ever since then, I've been leery of something like that just because of the whole puppy farm thing issue. We bought a Siberian Husky from a pet store, and he was a great dog. Don't get me wrong, but I've learned a lot about that stuff since then. Today I'd probably look for either a shelter dog or at least go to a private breeder that I actually knew was doing the right stuff. It's kind of like that guy you met that was raising the German Shepherds up near the reservoir or near Norris Lake. He was, he had a strain, he had a bloodline that went all the way back to Germany, straight over with his grandfather. His grandfather migrated over here before the war, maybe. So he had a pure bloodline for German Shepherds, and they had maintained that enough that he still traded dogs back and forth to maintain that line, fresh females and males, so he'd keep the genetics correct and not, get into I can't think of the word. Yeah, I think that's true, Kay and Brenda. Our cats have. I can remember times when our cats were such a nice relief from work and whatnot. Besides that, if they could talk, I am quite sure that if you asked them, that's what they'd say. Pretty sure cats feel like they are here for us, or we're here for them. I don't know how to put that. They help us, and by in turn, we're supposed to take care of them. Maybe that's how it is. Dogs, on the other hand, are they're different. They have a different kind of loyalty, whereas cats probably have not that much. I don't know. They do. What's going on at my door? I don't know. Teddy, are you wanting out? Teddy may be wanting out. Hang on. Talk to everybody, Brenda. I'll be right back. Okay, here I am. Yeah, Teddy was wanting out. I can't see him from here. He's behind my bookcase. And I thought I heard something, but I wasn't sure with the headphones on. Sometimes it's hard to say. He usually lets us know somehow. Let me catch back up here. That is one thing about dogs, though, Tina. If you keep them in the house, you got to take them out. And sometimes they do not want to go. Our little dog, and Momo and Charlie, which was Jennifer Kelly's little dog. This is Jennifer's little dog. What are you doing down here?
I thought somebody was bumping your door trying to get in.
There was. I let Teddy out. He was wanting out. Sorry about that. Meanwhile, at the ranch, they didn't want to go out if it was raining. It didn't matter if you put a raincoat on them or not. They didn't want to go out. They're training you well then, Tina. They probably think you're a quick learner. Well, that's true, Tina. They wouldn't. That's kind of a bad thing about cats. In fact, if you were to pass away in your house and nobody knew, they'd probably eat you. Yeah, Tina, but they found a new life in your house. They don't have to run in the rain. They're not out chasing the fox or a coon in the rain. So, they think, why would I need to do that? Are they, Tina, I'm serious. I am serious. Do you know, I've seen pictures of your dogs, I think. And I mean, they're black and tans and whites mostly, aren't they? Or what we used to call black black and tans. Are they, do you know if they're, like part beagle or American foxhound or just mutt hounds? Or, and there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, I think some of the best dogs out there are mixed breed dogs. They just always seem to be the most appreciative. I mean, I've had a couple of purebred dogs and they were good. Or we've had one. Let me say that. I'll take that back. We've had one. And he was a pretty decent dog, but he was stubborn. But I probably didn't have anything to do with his breeding. But I think most rescue dogs and most found dogs and most mixed breed dogs are just glad to be somewhere. Do they like to take baths? Okay. I wish ours did. Well, I don't wish ours did. We don't give them that many. We don't really bathe them a lot, but still, it'd be nice once in a while if you had to, because otherwise they don't care for it. It is funny she mentioned that, though. Our small Chloe, when we get out of the shower, if she comes in the bathroom and we're getting out of the shower, she comes up and she wants to lick the water off our legs or whatever. There you go. That's just kind of an odd thing they do. At least some of them do. They don't all do that, but Chloe sure does it. Now Spooky, the old cat, he kind of likes to dip his water out of the bowl, and he prefers to have it running out of a faucet. He'll put his head under a drink, out of the faucet. And I know other cats do that too, but most of ours would if you let them. But we've kind of cut that back so we're not wasting water all the time. But I turn it on once in a while for Spook just so he can get a drink. Excuse me. Well, that's okay. That's why when I said that, I hesitated because cats don't need as many baths, but indoor cats at least, because they pretty much take care of themselves. And I think too many baths is probably not a good thing for them. Simon gets a bath every once in a while because he's got a problem, but I won't go into details and embarrassing. Dogs, on the other hand, there's a funny video, or several actually, about a dog that somebody's got. I think it's a Malamute or a Husky that does not like to take a bath. And every time they get him in the bathroom or can corral him and the water's running and they tell him it's bath time, he goes and tries to hide in the corner of the bathroom. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but it's pretty funny how he'll close his eyes and stick his head down in the corner and just try to hide behind everything in the bathroom. Is that yes because you've seen? Have you seen that? You've seen that? It's funny. That dog acts just like a kid. He does not want to take a bath. And he just hides everywhere he can when the water's running. It's funny as it can be. I keep grabbing the wrong cup. I'll stop doing that. I'm in that cup. Maybe I need to put something in it so I quit grabbing it empty. I tell you what, when people talk about animal videos in the YouTube or internet being fun to watch, some of them really are. I just discovered, I'm not saying I'm all for this, mind you. In fact, I have very mixed feelings about it, but there's a Japanese guy, couple maybe, I'm not sure, in Japan who have two otters two Asian small clawed otters for pets. And I'm guessing they're siblings. They may not be, but they're the same size. And they are cute and they are funny to watch. They'll dive under the sofa if they're trying to, run away or get away or just playing. And it's really cute. If something startles them, they take off. One takes off and dives under the sofa. The other one takes off and runs up the stairs to the upper level. They're hilarious. He takes them for walks, puts them in a harness, takes them for walks. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about that. I'm not totally sure what the situation is right now with small Asian small clawed otters. I don't know if they're endangered at this point or just maybe need help, but that's if they're involved in the pet trade, that's usually a good thing. Sure, Tina, go ahead. Well, you can't. Can you? You're a mod, aren't you? Yeah, go ahead and put it in there. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. It's funny. I'm assuming you're talking about the dog. I could find that one about the otters, probably. In fact, I just saw it. Or saw a new video. Yep, right here they are. Give me just a minute. Here's that one. Here's the otters. There you go, folks. Those are both. If you got time to spend time on YouTube looking at videos, those are two good ones. The dog is hilarious, and those otters are really funny. This one's for the otters, and this one's for the huskies. The husky. I'll have to look for her, Kay. I don't know if I've seen that or not. Brenda may have. Owl Kitty. Okay, I'll have to look for that. I probably ought to close a few things. I've got too much stuff open. Oh, you've seen them too, Tina. They're cute. I mean, I love to watch them when they slide under that sofa. They just hit their bellies and just, boom, they're gone. And they're obviously used to living in a home with him. They must have raised them from young. My concern is something like that is if that's a common practice in that part of the world that could be hurting the native populations, but then they may be doing the same thing, maybe breeding them for pets over there. I don't know. That does take some of the link off of. Okay, Kay, I'll look for that, and I may pull it out here in a minute and plug it in. Since we're sharing funny animal videos. That could be, Tina. That would make some sense. And I don't know. Let me look up something real quick. I don't know if they're native in Japan or not. Asian small clawed. No, they're not native there, so they wouldn't have been there. So they've got them from somewhere else and brought them in, orphaned or otherwise. So that's, if you know, I do hope they're taking. I mean, it appears like they've been well cared for and stuff. That's great. I just hope that's not getting to be such a business. They're stealing them from the wild and hurting the populations. And I didn't look up exactly to see if if that was much of a concern yet. Oops. Sorry. I had moved some stuff around to let the cat out upstairs. Well, hi, Carol. Well, that's too bad because, Caddy's been on here looking for you, and he finally he got down, but I could tell he was disappointed. I told him I'm sure you hadn't, give up on him. Tennessee tuxedo. I remember Tennessee tuxedo. This might be a dumb question, Carol, but how long before you guys start back to school up there? It's not really that long before ours do. Well, we don't have any, but kids down here. Yeah, it's hard to say, Tina. I'll have to investigate that a little bit. And sometimes, if they're going to be part of the pet trade, that's better if they do it right, because then they're not taking them out of the wild, and that's most snakes and things like that, and tropical fish even now, or a lot of them at least, saltwater are taken out, or actually they do take some out of the wild still, but a lot of them are from breeders now. Clownfish are fairly easy to breed, so a lot of clownfish get bred for saltwater aquariums, and they're not being taken out of the wild. Snakes, a lot of snakes are being done the same way for that reptile trade. Summer school all July. So you're in summer school. You get the month of August off. Well, Carol, you can't see him, but here he is again. Put your tail down. I can't see my face. Oh, he got down. You weren't here. Well, you need to get some time. Well, I don't know. When did you guys actually go back to school? I'm assuming you're actually in school. These may sound like silly questions. Oh, did you see him? Well, he got up and got down. He didn't stay long, though. Carol's here. Did you want to see Carol? Apparently, he's tired. We had one for a long time, Kay. We started out with a small one, like a nano cube, which was, in fact, that's what it was called, which was kind of neat. You couldn't have something that small. You can't really have much in it. Sounds like a hoot. No, that's a tough. Once they're what is the word I'm looking for? Brenda, help me out here. Once they've gotten used to being around people, I can't think of the word. Not acclimatized. Anyway, once they've gotten around people too much, it's really difficult to release wild animals back to the wild. That's why. What did Brenda say? Oh, her cleaner. I lost track of what I was getting ready to say. Oh, that's why the rehab centers that are really good know what they do. They don't get around the animals. They get around them as little as possible. They feed them remotely if they can. That's why they wear the bird suits and things like that when they're around the cubs or small birds, when they're feeding them. So it's not socialized. That's not the word I'm looking for. Hey, look, no, not domesticated. Although that's kind of what that's sort of what they become. Okay. Imprinted, Tina. Very good. Thank you. I knew somebody'd know. I'm supposed to know, but sometimes the brain doesn't work that way. Imprinted. Once they're imprinted on humans, bears. That's the problem with bears and eating garbage, and people feed them out of their cars and opening the cooler up and handing them a hot dog and that kind of stuff. Once they get that knowledge, they're pretty much ruined. Thank you, Brenda. Tina had it. We got it. But that's the word I was trying to get on. I mean, they feed whooping crane chicks and California condor chicks. That's a big deal to keep them from being imprinted so they won't be so accustomed to humans. In many ways, us humans just aren't that good for most wildlife in a lot of ways. Now, we've done a lot of good for some, but we usually put them in that problem to begin with. It's like alligators. And now alligators have made a huge comeback, and we got them on the golf course, and we got them getting people's dogs, and they walk them, and occasionally grabbing some kid or something. But that's the cycle we're running through. We either do too much and they drop, or we do too much and they come up, and then it's harder these days to find that middle ground. That's where hunters and anti-hunters and people that's where they interface, unfortunately, and that's usually a bad place because they don't. I won't say they don't understand. You run up against a wall with human civilization between hunting or harvesting, as some people like to say these days. Somehow that's supposed to be a better word. Certain animals to keep populations down, because if you don't, they just outgrow themselves. And alligators are at that point. That's why they do hunt some alligators now in Florida, and I'm sure they do in Louisiana. But they pretty much have to. Florida is so populated now that everybody's house is in gator territory. And I don't have as big a problem with that if they're eating them and you can't eat parts of gator and it's really good, and they're using the skins for things, even if it's high fashion, at least it's being used. And you're having to cull the population down to maintain a level where they can exist with humans and vice versa, and not be a conflict. That's the problem. That's a lot of the problem out west, where mountain lions are You hear about mountain lion attacks now every, I don't know, 1 or 2 times a year out west, California, and some of the other western states. Oh my word, the Mickey Bunch. Is that red-headed pirate lady from, well, Florida or Arizona? I'm not sure which, but or a little bit of both, maybe. Good morning, Kelly. Welcome. Always good to see you and chat. Oh, I know somebody we hadn't seen. Cherie. I'm surprised she hasn't popped in. She should be on her lunch break about now. Yeah, that's when we really screw up, Kay. That's a good point. And uh, in the case of the rabbits in Australia, they were an exotic breed. Same problem we have here now with tropical snakes in the Everglades, anacondas and pythons and things. They can survive there, so people get them and raise them for pets, and then when they get to be 10 feet long and about to strangle Junior, they take them out in the Everglades or somewhere, turn them loose, thinking that's the humane thing to do, and it's the absolute worst thing you can do. Not only to that snake, but to all the native wildlife that live in the Everglades. In that case, I've preached on that before, but I don't have as much sympathy for exotic species as I do native species that need to be, brought along. And those exotic species, if they're left at home and they have a problem there, I understand that too. But you bring in an exotic to a place where they've never been, they have no natural enemies, they run free reign, and populations just grow and grow and grow and grow. And at that same time, they're feeding on all the native wildlife that isn't used to that, doesn't know how to protect itself from that. So pretty soon you end up with exotic species and no rabbits. But in that case, the rabbits overpopulated and ate up all the grass, and greenery. So other species didn't grow. And like you said, they brought in something to take care of the rabbits, and it's just a bad cycle. Yes, we should know better, and I think a lot of people do know better today. They've kind of learned the hard way, but 50 years ago, 100 years ago, that was how they dealt with things. Yeah, humans should leave things well. They should leave that well enough alone. But we're not good at that. So how is Florida today, Miss Kelly? I don't know if she came in, but had she said anything? Oh, she said hi to Karki and Kay and to her friends. Oh, I must not be a friend then. She hasn't said hi to me yet. I'm kidding. They've done that a lot with fish too, bringing in fish species to, sounds like fun. It sounded like fun. Let's bring fish in that they catch somewhere else, and if they do well, people will enjoy catching them here too. And then they overpopulate, and that's a problem because it kills off the native fish. And it's a never-ending cycle. Once you get started down that path, it's hard to turn around. I was the first friend. Okay, well, I didn't see it then. I'm sorry. I apologize if I was. And if I didn't say hi back to her, I apologize. I don't know, Kay. They may have. I've not heard that. I'd have to look that up and see if that's true. I suppose that could be possible. I'm sure I've talked about that before, but our cats in the wild aren't native either, so at least not here. I'm not aware of in this continent, I'm not sure any of the natives domesticated cats. They did dogs. Ah, Brenda says you're right. Whoa, MVP Tina. What we missed? What I missed here? Tina, did you get an award somewhere? Well, I hadn't heard that about the cats. That's interesting. I wonder how they're doing. Wonder how that's working out so far. I could see how that might work in the city. That's interesting too, Tina. I know there's some cats out at California Adventure. People have talked about them around that restaurant out there. The can't remember the name of it, but it's kind of about the Napa Valley area, the theming. And I've heard people talk about having cats walk up there and around that area, which probably for the same reason. Well, that works, Tina. If Miss Kelly from the Mickey Bunch calls you an MVP, that sticks. She does know about these things. All right, I changed coffee cups. Let's see if I grab the other one now. Oh, what was that? I missed that. Oh, a lot. That's something, and that's something I absolutely hate to see too. Is wildlife in my case, or cats for that, or any animal for that matter, hit by a car. I just hate that. Well, that's interesting, Tina. I didn't really know that. I'm not terribly surprised, but I didn't know that. I have never personally seen a cat at Disney World, or have we? Brenda, do you remember seeing a cat down there one time? That's interesting to say they've got a feral cat program. Up here, the feral cat program is to try to figure out how to get them off of the colonies out of public land and either in people's houses or shelters, so they'll quit killing the wildlife. But that's controversial. And has any of you ever heard of the spay and neuter program? I can't think of what they call that. There's a name for it, cute little acronym. The Disneyland Hotel. I've seen a herd of cats behind the McDonald's here in Knoxville once. I figured they were feeding them burgers. Well, that's good. That's good, Kelly, that they are taking care of them in some fashion. Well, that was the next thing, and that's one of the ideas that they've tried in different places around the country. Not in the case of Disney, that's different, but where you have problems with them. We have problems up here, and I know that they do in other states too, but people release dogs and cats when they don't want them anymore. They've taken them out. Trap, neuter, release. Yeah, that's it. Okay, thank you. And the idea with that is somebody has a theory or a hypothesis that if you spay and neuter all the cats in a colony, the colony will stop growing because new cats won't come into it. And then a colony is sort of self-perpetuating in that all the participants, all the population comes from within, from breeding cats and having kittens and then doing it all over again. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. In fact, I'm not sure I do at all. But we've had that issue raised here many times. We used to have to deal with it in my work because we'd have a colony of cats created on public land or our federal property, and then they would be causing issues to other people, that butt up against our property. But our concern was we were also dedicated or obligated to take care of the natural wildlife, and feral cats aren't part of the natural wildlife. So it was a difficult interface. And some cats, once they're feral, if they've been feral long enough or raised that way and a couple of generations down, they're not, I'm not sure they're all tameable. Some of them might be, but that's the thing about a cat. Cats aren't nearly as far removed from wild as dogs are. They can go back. There's been studies done on that. Cats go back, they can revert back to wildness in just a couple, 3 generations. And that's not very long with cats. They probably were, Tina. That happens up here. It used to happen up here a lot. And I'm sure it probably still does. And I know there was a pack of dogs. And I don't know if they belonged to somebody, if they were just turned loose. But when we were living near Jonesboro, Brenda and I had been married but a year or two. And we had a pack of dogs come into a field behind our house. And were chasing the man's cattle. And I thought they were going to kill the cattle. And they probably would have if they could have gotten a hold of her. But they were running them into my spring. We drank out of a spring there. We had a pump and we drank spring water, and they were in my spring. So I went back there trying to run them off. I confessed to firing a couple of shots amongst them, but I don't think I hit anybody, but they did leave. So that was good. They stayed away from the cattle after that. But I met a guy one day, a couple of guys actually, that were hunting. I don't know if whether this was legal at the time. They were hunting wild dogs. People had turned a bunch of big dogs loose in an area. They had formed a pack, and that pack was chasing and killing deer. But that pack was also chasing and treeing humans if they could, because they weren't afraid of humans. That's a problem about dogs. Once they go wild like that, they're not afraid of people, like, say, a coyote or a wolf is. That's right, Kay. And you talk about something to eat you alive now. I had feral cats in an area. I was working a project one time here for the university, and the guy that ran it, the forester who ran it was at an arboretum. So they did a lot of experimental stuff there in trees and forestry, conservation efforts, and seeing how it affected wildlife and stuff. And I had an area where we had feral cats, and they would get into my traps. I had these little live traps that I caught mice in and tagged them and monitored them in this area. But anyway, that's another story. But I had some traps would get torn into, and part of it was feral cats. And the guy that ran the place put out gave me some bigger catch alive traps. And he said, if you get one in the cage, you don't reach in there and try to get it or even pick it up, because it will rip you apart. He said, I've already been through that. And he always used these really thick leather gloves. And he said, they'll just absolutely claw you to shreds if they get half a chance, because they were wild. No two ways around it. And don't get me wrong, I love cats. I love all cats, but feral cats are an issue if they're not taken care of. And I was raised around farm cats and barn cats and stuff, so I don't think that was quite as big a problem, although I've also had cats bring me, little trophies every day too. And back then I didn't realize what that was doing to the native population of animals. I've done some studies on that. It is amazing. You let Tabby out for the day and people wouldn't believe. That's the other theory on these feral cats. People think if you spay and neuter them, turn them back out, and then if you keep them fed, if you feed the cats, they'll have no reason to kill the native wildlife. They won't need to be out hunting, an endangered wood mouse or something. But that's not true. If anybody knows cats, they will hunt and kill just for fun. That's just something cats do. They don't see a right or wrong in that, and they don't do it because they're hungry. In fact, most of them don't eat it at all. Once it quits playing, they're through with it. And we've seen that here because our cats, occasionally in the wintertime, they'll catch a small mouse that's come into the house or something from outside. And they'll just, if I don't catch them and take it away from them and get rid of it, they'll torture the poor little creature till it does succumb to its injuries. That could be, Kay. That's a good point. If he's well fed and healthy, he might be a better hunter. That's probably a good point. I don't think people realize that. But that's because cats are beloved pets by most people, or a lot of people, or at least half the people that aren't dog people. They really have a problem with euthanasia when it comes to feral cats, but sometimes we just don't have a lot of choice. And that's largely why our guys are all indoor cats. They once we bring them home, they're home. And most of them don't want to go outside once they've been in here for a while. Do you, Teddy? Most of the time, our cats run and hide when the door's open, so. Well, guys, I'm sorry. Here I am yawning away. Well, I know there's some other people out there. Jump right in, and if you want to talk about something or have a question about anything, if we don't know it, we'll find it. That's the great thing about being right here. I've got the internet in my fingertips. Hey, John. Good morning, sir. Good to see you. I think you're back in New Jersey now, are you not? I don't know if you guys saw the post recently by John, but he'd been to Montana. I'm not sure if that was recently or if that was an old trip or old pictures, but wow, I've sat here and drank a pot of coffee and I'm still yawning. I don't know what that means exactly. Cleaning fish? What kind of fish? Where were you fishing today? My wife asked. Oh, you just got back from Montana. Okay. Time out for a nose break, folks. Be right back. Ocean. So you've been ocean fishing then? Is that from the shore, or you go out in the boat to catch those? And by fluke, isn't that like a sort of like a flounder type fish? Brenda likes to fish. Her and her dad used to fish. When she was young, they fished a lot. They were crappie fishermen, or crappie, depending on where you're at in the United States. And that's pretty much the only fish she'll eat. Oh, a Grady White. Well, I know what that is. Well, I know something about them. I'm not an expert on them. Is that your boat or somebody else's, or can I ask? 40 feet of water. Okay. I know there's an author that I like to read, and some of you may know who he is if I can think of his name. Ken Jenkins. I believe it's Jenkins. I've got 2 or 3 of his books. The first book he ever wrote was Walk Across America. And he did a couple more, but he did one where he spent a year or so on the coastline of, you guys can't see my hand down there, can you? Coastline of Florida and the Gulf Coast, basically, Florida to Texas. And he had a Grady White. He did that in a Grady White. That is so true, John. That is so true. Either that or your business boat, because I spent a lot of time in boats for the last few years, last 20 years. I spent a lot of boat time, and it was all in TVA boats. So if it broke down, I just had to make a phone call. I didn't have to worry about anything. I know I didn't get to go fishing in them, mind you, and it wasn't R&R time, but it was still time on the water, which was great. I mean, I actually got paid to be out in the boat. You know what they used to say about a boat? It's just it's just a hole in the water to pour money in. And that's pretty much true, I'm afraid. They're known as a summer flounder. Okay, I thought they were had something to do with flounder type fish or somehow related. You ever see anything really big out there, John, when you're a mile off coast and 40 feet of water? Either a whale come by the boat or a big shark, or I know a friend of mine was out one time and he was a marine biologist, but I don't know if it was dark or what the deal was, but he had a big fish come up alongside his boat, and I can't remember, it was like a 27 foot or 2, and this fish was as big as or longer than his boat, and he said he actually might have been scuba diving off the boat, and he decided it was a good time to go in that night, he said. He think it was that big, he didn't really want to be in the water with it. All the above. I see. Well, they are good eating. I don't know, Brenda. I think you may have had flounder. We may have had flounder. I know I have. I was thinking maybe you had too. In fact, I had it. Maybe the last time I had it was at Disney World on the paddle wheeler. I don't know, paddle fish or whatever it is now, but it was something else then. Something crabs. It was after it was the Princess Lily, and then it was something else for a while. Now it's the paddlefish. Wow. Did you catch that up there, or did you go somewhere else to catch a mako? Of course, shark fishermen might say that's not that big, but to me, that is big. I'll swim in salt water now, Kelly. It just has to be in a pool. Yeah, I'd like to see that too, Kay. That's one of the reasons I'd like to. If I ever take a cruise, I'd like for it to be in Alaska, up there, or I guess there's other warm places. I guess you can see them, but I'd like to see any whale. To be honest, I'd love to see a great blue in the water, humpback, breach. I mean, I think all that stuff would be really cool to see. Well, this is not entirely on the subject, but I watched that show this week. That, of course, this is Shark Week, I think, and I don't watch a lot of that, but um, I did watch the show that Robin Roberts did with the young lady that got bit off the coast. I think she lived in one of the Carolinas. I think North Carolina. That got her leg taken off and part of one hand, and they were discussing all the factors that may be going into some of these shark attacks, and the fact that they seem to be more common now than they used to be. They're still not as common as they sound like. 90 miles out. Wow, that's a long ways out. Were you actually fishing for shark, or did it get a hold of something else you were fishing for? So have you seen? I'm going to ask multiple questions here. I'm going to have to jump juggling. So Tina, have you seen whales when you've been out on these? Well, I don't know if you've been on cruises, a cruise ship, or if you've been on whale watch boats or what. But and were they East Coast or West Coast? Answer the following the previous questions, and you too may win a prize, but don't count on the prize. I knew guys in Florida when I was living down there that flew banner planes around in Daytona Beach, and they used to talk. Well, probably anywhere they could get a job, but I was in Daytona Beach, and they saw sharks all the time in the water, out usually out past the swimmers, but every once in a while they'd see one right in amongst them that nobody saw. Cool, John. How long did it take you to get that brood in? So, Tina, where did you go out for those adventures? Northeast up near you, or were you more down south somewhere? Wow, 2 hours. That's just, you had to have been exhausted, or you had help. I would think. I met a guy when I was in Florida, one of my excursions when I was just still late in high school, that he fished for sharks. I think he might have still been in high school, but the people I was with knew him from there because he was also a shark fisherman. And down there, they had a contest every year around Nassau, where the Nassau River empties out into the ocean there near Jacksonville, north of Jacksonville, where a lot of sharks that's where that fresh water comes in, which is something they talked about in that special. A lot of sharks like where fresh water comes in. They think that's a key to where people are getting bit in some ways, because I guess there's just like a lot of other things. That's a food, so there's usually food there. And well, good morning, Katrina. Welcome. Good to see you, Katrina Scopini. Hope I saying that right. Anyway, they had a 2-week period where they're all, whoever caught the biggest shark won kind of thing. And he pulled up, and I've got pictures of it somewhere. He pulled up like a 4 or 5, 6 feet, I'm not sure now, bull shark, and it weighed. I think he was guessing 350 pounds or something like that, but it wasn't near big enough to win, so he wasn't that happy about it. So what did you do at the fish market, John? Were you were you a fisherman in that regard, or were you just moving fish around the country, or? I'm going to guess, Tina, when you say you saw jellyfish, that you saw something unique, more than just the jellyfish washing up on the beach and at the ocean. You must have seen like big pods of them or something. Wow, okay. I've seen that on film, and I've seen that, photographs of that, Tina, when they're all moving like that in big groups. I know sometimes you could see Portuguese men of war. If you know what those are, they're jellyfish, but they're very colorful and they powerful stinging things. They can be fatal, I guess. But there's a certain time of year when they come in on Florida beaches, or they used to, at least northern Florida, and that was usually a problem. People had to kind of stay away, because I know a friend of mine's brother-in-law was there one summer, and we were down there moving the family back to Tennessee, and one of the little boys was with us. It was pretty sharp. He told his uncle, whose name right now I can't remember, but he said, "Uncle so and so," he said, "don't pick that up." He said, "That's a man of war. That's a Portuguese man of war." And he picked it up anyway, and it stung him all down his arm, nearly to his armpit, before he could get away from it. He was not feeling well for a couple of days. I have to clean my glasses here in a minute. I'd hate to end up swimming in a pool of jellyfish like that. I don't know. John might have done this. He's been fishing in the ocean and stuff a lot. But one of the trips when I was down there, this one guy he was the same guy I was talking about that was scuba diving. He had a big net, like 100-foot seine net. So we would get it out when we were down there and try to see if we couldn't seine up enough fish to, have a fish fry while we were down there. We were always trying to catch mullet. We rarely ever caught mullet. But we were out one night at dark, or in the dark, and we were pulling the net one more time, and the guy we'd put a post in the ground here and take it out around and swim a big semicircle and see what we could catch inside the net. And we were trying to bring one side in. I think the tide was coming in up. The water was deeper there or something. Anyway, this guy starts hollering, "Hey, I need some help with this pole. I can't get, it's getting deep over his head." Or he was just running out of arm strength or something. So I went out there to help him. In the process of doing that, I just got hit and bumped and collided with all these stingrays of some sort that we, I guess, had stirred up with the net. And they were all inside the net or in the, where they could be caught. But some of them were actually jumping over the net. Scared the crap out of me. Excuse me. Dark, and they were bumping into me, and I didn't know what they were. So it was I picked up the wrong cut. It was a little scary for me. I jumped over that net to get on the other side real quick. Do we have a James in the room? I missed it. Who am here? Okay, how did I miss James? Somebody's waving at James, but I don't see James. Was that Charles? Which one, Brenda? I don't know if Charles was down there that trip or not, if that's what you're talking about. It wasn't him. I mean, we were down there moving Steve and Judy back up, but we were there. Actually, that trip, we were out with a bunch of school teachers that were all out. Decided to go, have fish cookout. And oh, well, hi, James. I didn't see Kelly say that. Oh, there he is. James says hi to everyone. Well, hi, James. Well, you tell James I said hi. And ask him why he doesn't pick up his phone or something and get online and say hello to us. Tell him my feelings are hurt. I mean, they're really not, but don't tell him that. But we were doing that for a fish fry. Anything that bites at me in the ocean kind of freaks me out, I'll be honest. It didn't used to, but I think as I've gotten older, it's been a little bit more, I guess I've become a little bit more concerned with my self-preservation. How were you climbing in the water, John? I'm curious. Now, were you using a rake to drag them up onto the shore, or were you just diving and catching them? Could you catch the blue crabs or the blue claw crabs and eat them too? Or I can't remember if those are edible or not. Of course, they might not have been in season. Yeah, I figured the crab. I mean, I know some crabs are really good. Okay, James. Blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to catch up with the chat here. I see James is going to be bi-coastal. I think a little north, a little south, a little west, a little east. He's going to be all over the place. So he's going to be quadricoastal or quadricity or something. Sounds like he's going to be on the move. And I heard a rumor, Kelly, that you're going to go to Arizona. Is that true? At least until Oh, my mind. I'm telling you, people, my mind is leaving me. So your daughter's through school or something to that effect? I thought you just moved to Florida, but I don't know all the details. I've lost my coffee again. Oh, there it is. Never tried that, John. I know people dig for clams in some places, but I know about the raking for them, but I've never, seen anybody actually do it other than on maybe TV. I would suspect that if you grow up in a place where that kind of thing happens a lot, you really know enough about seafood to fix it and eat it and prepare it all the ways people like it. We used to, when I'd go to Florida, when I first started going to Florida, we went to Amelia Island, and back then it was a really rural kind of island. But Florida wasn't developed like it is today. This was in the early 70s. It still hadn't quite bloomed. It was starting to. Disney was just moving in. I mean, things were just growing like Orlando, but up where I was at, it was still fairly remote. But then they built a big resort there called the Amelia Island Plantations, and now it's just all a big golf course and that sort of thing. But back then, it was still kind of remote. And on the far south end of the island, there was a bridge that went back over to the mainland. But right at the tip of the Amelia Island, there was an oyster farm, and we would go down there and get fresh oysters. So you could either get them in the half shell or in the shell, or you could get them freshly shucked and canned, which is usually what we did. And we took them back to the house and prepared them. Back then, most of them were fried. I'll be honest. I don't know. We didn't eat that many raw ones. So how big are these crabs? Or clams, I mean, John? I used to like smoked clam. I've had some. I know I've had, I don't know if they were small clams or oysters, mussels at Cape May, actually, at Disney. I used to really like them too, John. It's been a long time since I really had any oysters. Like I said, a lot of the ones I had early on were fried. When I was growing up, we didn't have a lot of fish or anything. My dad fished some, but my mom wasn't that crazy about it. She wouldn't fix it or didn't want to fix it. And we never had something as exotic as shrimp or oysters or clams. That was just out there. 1.5. Now there's such a thing as getting two. Now, you can't take anything smaller than 1.5, but is there an upper limit too, John? To leave like breeding stock in the ocean, or is that not a thing? Now, I like clam chowder. I do like that. Well, I talk about Cape May and Disney World, but the real Cape May is probably even better. Yeah, Brenda was born in California, and her mom and dad used to talk about going out for the grunion runs, and which is kind of wild and crazy time out there. I guess they still do it some, but I don't think the runs are as big as they used to be. I like fish. It depends on how it's prepared, I guess, but I kind of like catfish. Brenda doesn't really like catfish. She likes crappie, and I do love crappie. It is really good. If you've never had that, I don't think that's just a southern fish anymore. They never have been just southern fish, but I like crappie. It's really light white meat. But I always like seafood better. I always preferred ocean fish that were properly prepared the best. Flounder, I've had some flounder that would absolutely blow your socks off. And some redfish, and I've had some fish chowder fixed off the. When I was down there in 1996 for the lizard project I did at UT University, we caught some fish off the back. Had a little dock, the river, the inland waterway. Inland waterway ran right behind the little house we were staying in, which actually belonged to Central Florida, University of Central Florida, which is a much bigger school now. And we caught some fish off the dock back there. Caught a couple of reds, I think they were called, and some sea trout or sea bass, or sea trout, which is actually a drum type of drum speckled. They call them speckled trout down there. It's actually a drum. Things like that we caught and fixed. And one of the guys had a really good. I didn't think he would. He was kind of a goofy kid, and well, a lot younger than I was, but I was almost 40 by that point. He had a mom recipe for fish chowder, and I didn't think, we weren't so sure about it, but he fixed it. Oh my God, that was good. Oh, catfish is a big thing in the South, and a lot of it's farm raised now. So if you don't like the taste of catfish, that's what I've been trying to tell Brenda. Oh, guys, hang on, bear with me. I gotta fix my cushion. That's what I've been trying to tell Brenda. Farm raised catfish almost has no taste. In fact, a lot of people, you got to run. Where are you going? You'll still be talking to me. Bye, Brenda. Thank you. And anyway, they raise a lot of farm catfish, and it tends to be they feed it a fish chow, and that kind of thing. And so it tends to have a real clean taste or almost a bland taste, which, of course, a lot of people say tilapia is like that too, farm raised tilapia. But I think it's pretty good. And you get a lot of that down here. And every once in a while you get some, well, we used to catfish and stuff. And people down here do that reach in their mouth thing and pull them out from under the water too. So, and they catch some big ones that way. Yeah, we do down here too, Tina. There's some, it depends on where you're at, but some of the places around here in different states are known for their catfish. Tennessee too in places, but it's usually around the river, along the river, or one of the lakes or something. Usually along the rivers. They go channel cats, flathead cats are actually pretty good too. Blue cats, yeah. They were doing a study at UT, and I went out on a boat, shocking boat, one day with them to catch. They were checking stomach contents. They were doing a bunch of studies up here, trying to determine if what was eating what in the reservoirs, because the population of crappie seemed to be down. And you either had up here, you had a couple of different factions of fishermen. You had the crappie fishermen or the striper fishermen, or they've introduced stripers in a lot of lakes around here, and a hybrid bass mixed between a spotted bass and a striped bass. People up here called them Cherokee bass or hybrids. So there was a lot of controversy about were they were eating all the crappie, and the crappie fishermen were absolutely sure they were eating all the crappie. They never seemed to consider the fact that they go out and catch 300 or 400 a night. They didn't seem to think that had anything to do with it, but they were damn sure stripers were eating them. But we never found, I think in all the hundreds of fish they ever sampled, they might have found one crappie in the stomach of a striper. But we were doing that with catfish too, and see what they were primarily eating, which is crawfish mostly. But we had to cut them open and check their stomachs and take some other samples for different things in that study. It always left us with, dead fish, if you will. So sometimes us, poor, starving college types took them home and had dinner, and they were good. I know I brought some home, chunked them up in of course, I was frying them too, but I deep fried them in like beer batter. And oh my goodness, melt in your mouth. They were delicious. I've had some really good red snapper too on the coast. That was another nice thing about going to Amelia Island in Florida. They had Amelia Island, that area. I was told then at least they had the deepest natural harbor, either on the lower part of the East Coast or at least in Florida. And they had a lot of fish in there, so you could just drive down to the marina or harbor or whatever you want to call it, and get a lot of fresh seafood. So we'd go down there for it was cheap. So we'd go down there and buy 2 or 3 pounds of shrimp and different kinds of fish and bring it home and have a big fish cookout 2 or 3 times while we were down there usually. Oh, wow, did I get spoiled. That was my real introduction to saltwater fish to eat. It was so good. Didn't even know about shrimp till then, and I learned I really like shrimp. Excuse me, both peel and eat and fried. Still do. There used to be a seafood place in Daytona Beach called shucks, I'll think of it in a minute. But we always went to eat there when we were down there for bike week. I always went there at least once. And one of my buddies, he was not too big on experimental eating, so he would always get the same thing when he went there. I mean, for years he got the same thing because he knew he liked that and he didn't want to take a chance on getting something he didn't like. Okay, John, have a good conversation. Your dad, we said hi, and you have a good day, sir. If you get to go fishing again, good luck. You're always welcome. Not partners. Parks. Park was the name of it. And he always used to get stuffed flounder. That was his favorite thing there. Oh, that and the mullet stew. They had a mullet chowder you could put on crackers. Smoked mullet. Oh, that was just to die for. Well, let me see here. How long we been running? Almost 2 hours. I think I should shut this off at 2 hours. I think I'm. Everybody says I'm not wearing you out, but people have things to do. I don't want to be too long if somebody wants to watch a replay. Just sit here for, last week I lost track of time and was here a long time. I enjoyed it. In fact, I enjoyed every minute of it, but that's still a long time to be online for other people, especially. And I know Kay and Tina or whoever it was told me last week, I'm not making you be here. Lord knows I love you for it. How am I feeling? It depends on what I'm doing. you can probably tell, or maybe you've been able to tell I'm getting a little squirmy. If I sit too long like this, I start hurting a little bit. My left leg is still bothering me, more so one day than another. We're hoping and planning to get back in the pool starting this week. We kind of took a week off because I've got an area that's really hurting me, and I thought maybe I had hurt it by overdoing it, but yeah, I enjoy rabbit holes myself. I've I've chased many a rabbit down a hole in my life, and I like that. Or a squirrel. I could call it squirrel hunting for that matter, but I do. I like that about the chats. I don't try to be too structured. I mean, sometimes I think people would like it better if I was, but okay, I think pool therapy helped me more than anything, and I've gotten up once since I've been down here, and I tried to stand up. You might have seen the grimace on my face when I tried to stand up a minute ago, but it's not full-time pain. It's just sometimes I get uncomfortable. My left leg, though, still bothers me a fair bit. It's funny. It's still not functioning the way it should. In fact, both my legs are still have a little bit of, I guess, numbness in them, even my right, but it's mostly okay. It gets a little tingly sometimes, and my foot still has like neuropathy or, numbness in it, which is just weird. I can't figure out why it's affected, not anything else over there. But my left leg is still coming back. The doctors wasn't sure how much more I'd get back. He talked like I might not get any more back. I'm really hoping he's wrong, so I'm going to keep trying. It's stronger than it was, that's for sure. I can I ate an almond. That's what I was chewing on a minute ago. Now it's choking me. Love raw almonds, but the skin on them kind of sticks in my throat sometimes. I can walk. I walk with a cane, and I have to have something to lean on most of the time. Now I can walk from here to the couch. I have a couch in the other end of my room here that I can sit down on, and that Teddy and I usually relax over there a little bit. But I can actually walk over there without my cane as long as nothing gets in my way. As long as I don't have to step over something or I don't trip on something, I can make it. But I'm still not steady. I'm not solid on my feet. I can go up and down the stairs, but it's still a slow process, but a sure one. I mean, there was a day when I couldn't get up and down the steps at all. I would try to go to therapy. That's when it first happened, before they figured out what was going on. And I literally had to crawl, up and down the steps and crawl to the car to get in just to try to get somewhere. Those weren't fun times. So I've gotten a lot better since then. The pool therapy really helped. I'm not doing the official therapy at the moment. We decided to join a fitness center / therapy center not far from here that one of the local hospitals has in their facility that they use for rehab and stuff too. We can actually go there and I can get a little bit of help. Plus I can still talk to my therapist, and it's a lot cheaper to do that than it was to continue to do therapy 2 or 3 times a week and pay for that. But I've got to go back. Like I said, we took a week off for a week and a half. We would have gotten back this week, but we had the grand dog to babysit, so we don't like to leave her here by herself because she does have issues. So that was probably not bad and good, but I've got either a hip or a groin problem that I was working on at the end of therapy, and I'm not sure if that's what did it, or again, that's what caused it, or if I had it before. I got my feeling back. Now I realize it's there because that's what's been going on with my knee. I didn't feel my knee for a long time, even though I knew I'd hurt my knee. I also knew it was very weak, even when I try to stiffen it and lock my knee when I couldn't feel it very well, it would give. And someday down the road, I'll probably have to have a knee replacement. But, that's what they've told me. I've got a torn meniscus and it's eat up with arthritis. So one way or another, I'll probably end up with a knee. But, that's how it goes. That yesterday was kind of a miserable day. I had a lot of leg cramps. And that's the thing that drives me nuts. That's where the painful part comes in. It's just these leg cramps that literally run up and down my leg from my shin or the calf muscles up to my thigh muscles, and my toes and feet draw up, and there's just nothing I can do about it. I can try to relax. It's very difficult. I think it was yesterday morning. I woke up having Charlie horses in that same leg, so probably related. Usually the cramps kind of come and go, and they don't fully draw into what I'd call a Charlie horse, but they're almost that bad. And I don't like to whine about it. It is what it is, and I've got to deal with it. So I'm trying to figure out how to deal with it. I've actually gone so far now as to consider a 3-wheel motorcycle just because I'm not sure I'm going to be able to ride my 2-wheeler, which absolutely breaks my heart, but we'll see. But I'm not there yet. Brenda still doesn't want me to drive the car. I think I could drive the car because, like I said, my right foot works pretty good. But even when I say that, I can't go long distances in the car. I hurt really bad. Sometimes I just can't stand to sit in that seat, a minute longer. So, yeah, I try to take some potassium, okay? And I was taking just a supplement, and I try to eat things with potassium in them, like avocados and bananas sometimes, but because potassium is supposed to help cramps, and I do try to. We've got a potassium supplement that she takes, and I take too sometimes for that very reason. But man, it's like swallowing a horse pill. They're big as my thumb. Hey, Cherie, there you are. Was talking about you a little bit earlier. Yeah, I should eat a banana every day. Like I said, I think it's avocados I read just the other day actually have more potassium in them than bananas do, I think. And I like avocados, so I can do that too. But I do need to get more potassium. And I could eat potatoes till I fell over and died, but I'm trying not to eat too many these days. I'm still trying to lose some weight, so I love potatoes. That's the Irish in me, I guess. I absolutely love potatoes. I'm not sure there's a potato ever made that I didn't like. He may be gone, Cherie. He had a phone call, so he may still be showing up in the chat, but I'm not sure he's still here. We were talking about food and fish and seafood when he was in here. But anyway, I'm trying. I'm still working on it. It still drives me crazy. I call it my stupid leg, my stupid foot. I probably shouldn't do that. I'm pretty self-deprecating, but I can't always make it do what I want it to do. It doesn't always do what I want it to do. It does what it wants to do. Oh, I need to find some of those, Kay, because I could take that easy. But this things Brenda's got we've got are huge. Maybe they're just a large dose. I don't know, but they're just big. We need to find some smaller ones. So are you taking your lunch break, Cherie? Or are you through for the day? I'm assuming you're working. You usually have to work for Saturdays. I can't remember if we were taking some magnesium too, Tina, for a while or not. I'm trying to remember what those pills look like. They might have been big too, also. My so-called muscle relaxers that I do take are pretty big. I can take two of them at a time, but I have to have a really good drink of something to do it. I couldn't do it dry. And I take them when I'm really having the cramps issue. I think I've convinced myself lately that they seem to help. I never thought they did much. I certainly don't get loopy or relaxed on them. I don't feel loopy or relaxed on anything hardly. But even when there's James Ryan. Well, good to see you, sir. You're at Disneyland, you rotten booger. Yeah, I saw those shells. I saw her picture on Instagram this morning, I think, or yesterday. Well, James, you go have a good time at Disneyland. You guys aren't I guess they're not. You don't have to be just a resident now, do you? I think they've lifted that. Man, that sounds like fun. I'd like to be out there. I'd miss. I've only been once. We went a few years ago and spent 2 or 3 days out there to one of the neighbor hotels, and uh, I'd really like to go back. California Adventures changed, or it's not even called that anymore, is it? Well, it's still California Adventure. Anyway, DCA has changed a lot since we were out there, and I'd really like to come out and see Cars Land and all the changes. And James, you just can't walk in here and just talk to all the ladies. You're going to have to say hi to me too. Maybe you did and I missed it. Maybe I better watch what I'm saying. So you're not in Arizona today, James and Kelly. You're actually in California. That's great. Oops, I didn't mean to leave that up there that long. Okay, I was just telling folks I was going to try to sign off a little bit early today. What time is it now? It is 11 after. I might go another 20 minutes. And just in case anybody else pops in, we're down to 4 now, so not a lot of people left. Might be a good time to go. I wonder if don't know who's still in here. You take a look. Well, have fun, Kelly. Thanks for dropping by. You and James. Tell James I said that too. I don't think Rascal ever said hi to me directly. So you tell him I'm not going to forget that. I will hold that against him. He's going to owe me a scotch somewhere at Disney World someday. Yeah, I'm sure he did, Tina. I'm just aggravating him. I'm sure he did. I just can't. I'm just going to give him a hard time about it because I can. Well, Cherie, I'm glad you made it. What are you? Did you have to take a late lunch today? Usually, you eat lunch about 11. Yeah, I am. I'm jealous. James and I have this bromance going. Oh, the scotch is on me. Wait a minute. Who said that? Oh, you did explain it? I'm sorry, Cherie. I missed it. Apparently, I'm missing a lot of things. Well, I'll take that. Scotch can be on me. Okay, I'm sorry. I missed that, Cherie. I apologize. Oh, Surfer Girl, I mean, are you you have to unload some freight or that kind of something, or are you doing something fixing? You know what I used to hate doing when I was delivering Coca-Colas, which is one of the reasons I do not drink Coca-Cola to this day unless I have to. Was setting up kiosks. Well, they didn't call them displays. We had to set up displays because they were all the time having something on sale. And we'd have to go into these big supermarkets and set up displays of, several hundred cartons of 2 liters or 32-ounce bottles of Coke back when everything was in glass still. And those were returnable. Sometimes it'd be cans. That was easy. But, man, setting up those 32-ounce glass bottles, there was 4 of them in a crate or a flat, and we had to stack them up, a certain way in a certain place in the store, put up some signs. It all had to be just so. And it took up a lot of time, which meant, I didn't get home till 7 or 8 o'clock at night because when I get finished with that, I always had to run the rest of my route. I always thought the salesman ought to be doing that. He was the one selling all the product. I wasn't. I sure wasn't making any extra for doing it. trying to fix my chair. Bear with me a second. Oh, I had it miscombobulated. Oh, I see. We've actually done stuff like that in our careers, our lives. Brenda and I both worked at J.C. Penney's at one time. Mostly just putting stuff, stocking shelves and putting stuff out on the floor. But she used to have to do, unload stuff and do more inventory type things than I ever did. I did it once or twice just as a part-time job for Christmas or something. Oh, Cherie, well, that's either good or bad. It's good in a way, but it's also could mean a lot of extra work for you. But hopefully it means more money. Somewhere along the way, at least. Teddy, there's squirrels on the bird feeder. Well, that's not easy. Sometimes that can be difficult. We always worked at night, so I usually broke down and palletized boxes. And I know Brenda used to take inventory in, put it on, take it out of boxes and put it on hangers and put those hangers on a rack and roll that rack out to either out on the floor or a staging area where the salespeople could get it the next morning and take it out and set it up. Kept you busy. Well, it is good you got full time. I didn't even know if they did full time people anymore. I spent some cold days in West Virginia putting together an airplane that belonged to Walmart one time that had run off the runway in snow. I think it was snowy. I think the runway was slippery and they got sideways and slipped off the runway. And we had to go up there and repair it so they could ferry it home back to Nashville so it could be properly repaired. Up there we just kind of scabbed it together so we could get it home. Yeah, those kind of areas don't tend to be very well air conditioned. I don't know what the deal is with that, but it seems to be the case. I used to work in a warehouse that had no air conditioning at all, so it was terribly hot. Yeah, they expect you to work in that kind of weather, those temperatures, but they don't. Is it heated in the wintertime? Hopefully it's heated, but well, you guys don't. Well, you have cold weather. At least some. I was just telling Kay or somebody about that. That's exactly right, Tina. You're exactly right. And unfortunately, that means all the workers have to, go back there and sweat and work, and not always the best conditions. I mean, there's worse conditions. Don't get me wrong, but still, You're working in a warehouse like that, there ought to be better ventilation than there usually is. I wondered about that. I've worked in places that weren't heated either. Our hangars in Nashville had the heat system in, but it was terrible and it wouldn't work. Worth a darn, it couldn't keep our hangars warm, so we worked in the cold a lot. And there's some things that you just can't do when it's cold. They just don't work. But anyway, you asked how I was feeling. So. I was just telling them I've had a lot of hip pain the last few days and trying to get some of that out and rested. I probably need to put some ice on it here in a little while. You can kind of tell I'm squirming a lot right now. It's because I'm getting uncomfortable sitting here. I absolutely did, Cherie. I thought I commented on it. I may not have. If I didn't, I apologize. But I saw it. At least I saw part of it. If there was more than one part, I might not have seen it all. But yes, I did. I like that a lot. And she's talking about the Warbird Park there in near Myrtle Beach. We've got a museum. We've got a Warbird museum here in Tennessee, also. In fact, not far from here, up near Sevierville or Dolly country. And as soon as I'm able, I want to go up there and do a video to see what they've got on hand. I know they've got several Warbirds up there. World War II vintage. I'm not sure what else they've got. I love museums. They don't even have to be about airplanes, but airplane ones are cool. But I love just about any museum. Well, I got something, Cherie. I'll have to double check that. But I know I saw pictures of it at least. Maybe I need to go back and look again, but I know I got images from you. I'll check after I get through here and just make sure if you sent something else. I probably look like I'm freezing up. I sit still for too long. Oh, yeah, guys, I think I am going to have to get off here. I'm not feeling all that great. I have seen those, Kay. I think that's fascinating. Brenda really likes those too. In fact, she may have seen more of them than I have, but I think that's amazing, fascinating, and wonderful technology that they've been able to do the things they've been able to do with that. I mean, it literally looks like they're draining the oceans, and that's how good the technology is now for mapping and scanning that stuff on the bottom. I'll double check, Cherie. I thought I did, but let me go back and look. I'll double check that. But that Drain the Ocean series is just amazing. I'm fascinated by that technology. I mean, what they can do and how accurate it is and how the stuff they found by doing it. It's amazing. Maybe they need to get out and do that with looking for Amelia Earhart. Maybe they could find her under the ocean out there somewhere if they mapped it like that. That must be what I saw, Cherie. I'll have to look on YouTube. Sorry about that. I love those kind of shows, Tina or Kay. There's so much good. There is so much good stuff out there if you look for it. I mean, there's a lot of junk on TV too, but there's some really good things out there. I'm not a big reality TV person. I don't watch we don't watch. Brenda doesn't either. Things like The Bachelor or The Bachelorette. I never watched Survivor. I've never seen an episode of Survivor. Most of that stuff doesn't mean anything to me. I don't really enjoy it all that well. So when I see something like that that's done well and done smartly and done with that kind of technology, then that's different. The only reality show I think I've watched at this point in my life is, and I guess it's a reality show, is Forged in Fire on the History Channel. And I do enjoy that. But I used to do some blacksmithing on the side just as a hobby with a friend of mine. So I've always enjoyed that kind of thing, making knives and such. And I've got one here somewhere. I think it's in the safe that I made. The last one I made when I had this stuff set up at my house, and I still lived in Nashville, or down by Nashville. Same to you, Cherie. I missed that one, Kay, but I'm going to go back and watch that. You too, Cherie, and I didn't know Meg was on, but that'll be fun, I'm sure. I may get on my laptop or something over on my couch, but I'm going to go sit. I've got to sit in a different place for a little while to ease my soreness up. So I am going to cut it off. Love you guys for being here. I don't exactly how the Hawaiians do it. If Elena was in here, she could show me, but and if anybody's still out there listening, I hope you have a good day. Kay and Tina, I hope you both have a good day. And if you're out, I'm sure you're out there probably watching and listening to somebody and modding for them. I hope you have a good day. Oh, she's doing a runner stream today. Okay, cool. Yeah, it is Elena's bedtime. She's not up yet, probably. Although she's probably getting pretty close. What time is it? 12:30, 6:30 out there. I don't know. She might not be yet. It's a Saturday, so maybe she can sleep in today. But everybody have a wonderful day and a great weekend. If I don't, I'll see some of you around, I'm sure, later today or tomorrow in chats. And as always, thanks for coming. And I really do appreciate it. If you haven't done it, hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell. Let me know if you get notifications. I'm not sure where they go and who gets them, but I try to make sure stuff goes out, but I'm not very good at all that, so I may not be getting them right. So if you're not getting them, let me know. I know, Tina, you're always watching and always batting those trolls down. All right. I'm going to end it on that, and I'll see you guys soon. Be back next week if the creek don't rise and the good Lord's willing. See ya.